Okay, took me a while to upload everything and compile everything. Those are probably two. I mean, one of them is the longest video I've ever made. 3.5 hours. No, I think it was 3 hours and 45 minutes. 48 minutes. So I'm a little nervous to go and ask for more prophecies because there's more things I want to do rather than just talk about God's prophecies day in and day out. So maybe I'll devote some time of each week to praying about that. I might do something and just not talk about them today, just to see what I get, because I have books I want to write and shows I want to write, and I still need to do the Master Jesus meal prep episode, and I want to do a little kids episode. So we'll see. Sorry, that was not very polite. So I wanted to put this in the end of the last episode, but it didn't feel like it meshed well, like it could have, but why? So when I was done with all that prophetic messaging between me and heaven, I had a kind of moment of inspiration. It might have been a prophetic moment, but just this, like, I saw something clear in a kind of prophetic landscape, because prophetic landscape is very like, you have a thought, but you see it in 3D as it's like moving through. It's kind of like processing an animated movie an animated short that's about 10 minutes and processing it in about 3 seconds. But really you're looking at a single image, but really it's an animated 10 minutes worth of information that's processed down into one kind of figment of mental information. Okay. Now, most of the time I try to be kind of evangelical, on the evangelical side of Christianity, which is like, the church welcomes you with open arms, but there has to be instruction too. Like, being a Jedi isn't just about having a lightsaber. There is instructions, how to like have form, how to move, how to like go with the flow of the Force. So instead of going with the flow of the Force, we go with the flow of the prophetic Force, right? And I mean like Force, like energy in the universe, and I'm talking scientifically, not metaphysically. I'm saying kinetic force, like inertia, momentum, etc. Okay, so this is again going to be instructional, so it's going to sound mean, but part of my calling is to help kind of clip the toenails of society. You'll see those, pet masters, people who have pets and they never clip their dog's nails, and the dog's nails get like really big, and you're like, dude, like clean those up, shave those down a little bit. Anyway, so this is instructional. It's not here to be mean, but sometimes the course has to be corrected. Okay. So I was thinking about all the animosity, all the cruel things that a lot of girls are saying on social media right now about men. See, I wrote it down. And I was just kind of like tonguing it in my mind, which means just kind of like feeling it around, right? I was kind of feeling it with my mind, with my spirit. And I was going to say something like, I was going to say something snarky, like, you hate men the way men hated girls in the 90s. You attack men the same way men used to call all girls bitches. Now girls are calling, all men trash or worthless. At least the shallow and unsophisticated men. Wait. Yeah, so we're... Oh, so not all men did this. The shallow and unsophisticated men did this back in the 80s and 90s. So it's about the same. And then I realized the problem is women don't have a problem with men. They have a problem with their relationship with God. So instead of just like me furthering complaining about people who complain about complainable things, see what I did there? That was pretty cool. I tried to think the problem through further. And I realized, again, to repeat myself, they have a problem with their relationship with God. They're seeking the higher order of things. And this is what is happening. Women are looking for higher order, and they're becoming frustrated because men aren't that. And they don't realize what is happening in reality. As they look for men to be the leaders and worthy characters to the opposition of things that would cause them tremendous discomfort, God is holding men back from being that in their eyes. Whether the men want to be that or not, he's holding back their perception, because women need to realize God is the source of the life force of the universe that they're trying to attain. They're seeking the higher order of things, but not willing to bow before the king. And that's what's happening. They don't want judgment. They want to be safe in their, and a lot of women want to be safe in their accusations without looking internally. And it's not really worth it looking internally if there's no God or you're not possessed by the Holy Spirit, because then why bother? Everything is subjective, so why give up your posture on anything? But with God and his ultimate love and his ultimate influence over reality and his ultimate resource to fulfill our lives' journeys, we have to bow before God, who is the king. That's part of what being a Christian is. God is a king, and we bow before him. What did one man say? I stand for the flag, and I bow before, and I kneel before God. When you turn towards God, possessed with power, unconditional love, and self-discipline, which allows for self-agency, this is why you're angry. This is why men are angry. Nobody's dating anymore because, so now I'm talking about myself. The way I was able to date all these incredible women is I prayed for them. And at church, people pray for spouses. And nobody's praying, and everyone's wondering where the good girls and good men are at. Well, we would pray for them to be brought to us. So God would influence people's lives to be compatible partners, and influence our lives to make us compatible partners, and influence together so that way we'd be compatible and work together and touch our hearts and work with us and work with our spouses, who are supposed to be like best friends, who there's also a romanticness with. But so this is why relationships aren't working. This is why you're not finding what you're after. The book of Proverbs calls I'm going to have to look that up, because it's a really good chapter on relationships. And it would be so good for me to read that right here. I'll be back. Okay, so I found it. Oh, it's in the book of Matthew. Why did I say Proverbs? Matthew 19, chapter 19, verse 6. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Okay, so now there's something supernatural about marriage. There's something supernatural about this intertwining of future. Okay, and it is ridiculous, because just being somebody who plays the field is not good for the children. It's not good for the future of society, and it's not good for you. God designed the universe, so there's a metaphysical gravity or metaphysical rivers that pull towards what matters to God, and we ride those rivers, and we pull in what's important to us and to God, to ride those rivers forward, to be joined at the heart of God in the center of the universe. And I'm talking very poetically, but I also have like an excellent grasp on biblical theory. Okay, and that's to say, the same way someone can understand physics and how the universe works, I understand the Bible and how how the supernatural mechanics of the universe work. Okay. So in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, wow, I was really bad at quoting. I'm going to have to hire someone to make sure my quotes for the Bible are correct. Future Josh, remember this. Okay, so this is an element of marriage. You have to remember, marriage is supernatural. Everything that isn't modeling itself or using a mold of the supernatural premise that God designed is not going to have the same effect. It's like somebody hearing a story about a car and then making a car and calling it a car, and me being like, that's a great go-kart, but I don't think you should take it on the freeway. I made a car. No, that's a trampoline, but it takes me places. It's still a trampoline. Why are you being mean, Josh? Because it's a trampoline. So eventually, like, as a teacher, you have to, like, say, no, this is this, that is that. These two aren't the same. And that makes people upset when they want to get what they want, even though there's no reason for it. Okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. They get more done. You know, you're living together, so your bills are less. You can be organized together. Your best friend who you're married to is going to, like, help keep you mentally fit and keep you, you know, refreshed because you guys can tackle the chores together. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 10. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. So, you know, if life gets tough, you can lean on each other or pick each other back up or encourage each other. But man, it can really suck for the people who have nobody to call their own. Yeah, when my mom wanted to marry my dad, she told God a list of like 20 things she wanted, and she got all of them. Like, don't be afraid to really write a long list of things you want. I've had to tell some people, they'll say, yeah, God's not giving me what I want. And I say, yeah, you don't have a list. Like, you haven't asked God for anything. Well, I don't want to be needy. God is infinite. You're not being needy. You're being a daughter. Ask for more, and then it'll show up. And you know what happened? And then it showed up. And I tell people, I use the pizza restaurant example. If your dad owns a pizza business, and you show up and say, Dad, can I have a slice of pizza to take to my friend's house? He's going to say, no. What do you mean a slice of pizza? You think I'm poor on pizza? You don't think I can't afford a pizza? You think I can't run a pizza parlor? What? Are you my daughter or not? Aren't you going to your friend's house? Aren't there going to be like 4 people or 6 people? No, here, take 3 pizza pies and like 2 liters of cola. Then you can go. Do you want some desserts? Do you want some breadsticks? Do you want some mozzarella sauce? I'm going to send you with all of that. Now you can go. 1 slice, what, you're going to share? You're going to share? You think your dad doesn't love you? What kind of relationship do we have? What kind of relationship do we have that you don't know I love you enough to give you 3 pies? Like, you think I can't afford to give you 3 pies? You think my business is that unsuccessful? Anyways, so you can add more down, and then God will. So, for example, I've been thinking future wife's going to show up for 2 years now. And in the Bible, everyone gets depressed, and then they quit, and then they don't get what they're supposed to get, or they get frustrated, and they ruin everything. And you know what I've been doing? I haven't got future wife yet, but I'm still praying about her. I'm still praying that she's protected. I'm still praying our future kids are protected, that they're grown smart, that they're grown healthy. I pray for her protection. I pray for her to have a good relationship with God, a good relationship with Jesus, to know she's loved, to feel hope, that her and I would be very romantically compatible. I pray about that a lot, that we'd get along, that she'd like my humor, that she'd like my jokes, that she'd like my charisma, that she'd a bunch of other stuff that's important to me. Like, I don't want to marry someone who's arrogant or mean or obnoxious. And I don't mean like in a normal, healthy human sort of way. We've all seen bad relationships, and so it's good to pray about it. And so yesterday, I have a poster of Celine from Underworld. And so yesterday, I was going to the gym, and I was really upset. I was like, because I'm theoretically perceiving like certain rockiness in her Christian journey. And so I have this poster of Serene. She's kind of like my inspiration, Celine, from Underworld, my inspiration for like the kind of champion personification I want in a spouse. So it's just, you know, a young boy's wish to have somebody who's super duper. And I also have a poster of a Supergirl. And so, like, today I was praying. I was like, please let her be, a little bit like Celine, that she can conquer and she's, fit. And then she, loves me in a pursuing sort of way. Because I liked how Celine liked the hybrid. Like, she cared. She honestly cared. She didn't just, like, stand there. Like, she had a pursuit type endeavoring attitude, and he had a very reciprocatorial attitude back. And then Supergirl is like strong and pretty and handsome and like cares. Well, classic Supergirl anyway. So don't stop praying, because you're going to want to. The last girl I dated, the artist, we almost got married. When I was praying to meet her, I was praying for quite a few things, and I kept praying and praying, and the demonic was attacking me a lot back then. I didn't know it was demonic. I thought, because remember, the demonic was like they who pretend to be the voice of God. So it was very tricky for me to figure out like what was going on. And I was praying, and then I felt kind of a breakthrough, like God was going to bring her about. But then I had this like vision of her being obnoxious and mean and not caring. It was very weird. It was like, she's probably not going to listen to you, and blah, 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 blah. And I just kept going and going, and I just had it. I just trying to find this process that works with God in ministry. I didn't have the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit yet, so I wasn't understanding what this mental weight I was under was. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. And then I heard the voice of God break through all the noise, like it quieted everything out and came through and said, do you really think I would give you something you didn't want when you were asking for something like this? And I said, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Like, and the Bible says that, like, it says, I'm not going to give you a stone when you ask for bread. So don't be afraid and keep pursuing it. Because people do, they give up. Don't give up. Like, keep praying. If God isn't answering you, it means he wants you to throw more thought bubbles into I always call it like a fishbowl. You throw your prayer into a fishbowl, and eventually the fishbowl breaks and all your prayers come true. But you can't stop. And the bigger the fishbowl, the more prayers you need, but it'll eventually break and be like, whoa, do, like super duper, duper, duper. And everyone just wants to quit. And I'm proof that you just don't quit. Even at 300 pounds, I dated beautiful women because I would say like, hey God, I haven't dated anyone in a while. It'd be really cool if you brought, and then I'd list like 20 or 30 things. And because of the privacy of my previous relationships, I'm not going to list them, but I listed 30 things, and they had these 30 things. The artist I dated, she was very intellectual, played video games. Not only did she watch anime, she understood animation, she understood art, she understood like a lot of the animation process on the very technical level. She could keep up with me intellectually. And she was just great to be around. It was really cool. So okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 10. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. And then Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 11. Again, so it's progressing forward and bringing reference to the progression forward. Again, if two lie together, so right, romantic, kind of like snuggling. If two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? So it's like, it's sad. Like we recognize it's sad. We recognize this is beautiful. Recognize that it's sad. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 12. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. So notice the play on words. New video file. So notice the play on words here. We have 1, 2, 3. though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. That was the New International Version. Let's do the New Living Translation. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer, right? That's how they would defend themselves when they fight. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. So who's the third? God. God is intertwined in your marriage. And people like, oh my God, everyone's so upset that they're getting divorced. So what happens, we learn I learned in Sociology 102, Marriage and Family, is after 5 to 8 years, the spark of sex gets old. And so you have to fall onto your relationship. And this is one of the reasons you don't have sex until you're married to your spouse, is you develop the friendship. So when the sex gets old, you have the friendship. And so what's happening is it's kind of like you're going from a kiddie pool to a big swimming pool. A big swimming pool has like a community, like you're becoming family. And that's the problem, is you now have this big breadth of spiritual land to play house on. Do you want your kids? Do you want the house? Do you want your dog? Do you want to go to Knott's Berry Farm? What do you want to do? Whereas before, it's just you and her. But spiritually, we grow to have more area to do more. It's not just about sex and the honeymoon of intimacy. And if you can get through that, the intimacy does come back, but God wants you to move forward. You don't throw away your siblings. You don't throw away your boys, right? Your best friends, your girlfriends. You don't throw away your spouse. And so if things are, and so there's more to it. The Bible asks us to read to your spouse every day. It asks to contemplate the philosophy. And the people that pray together, like, I think the divorce rate's like 1%. Because here's what happens when you pray. You spend just a couple minutes a day and you say, and you can say this to them, or, if they're kind of knuckleheads or thick in the skull, you can kind of pray to yourself, hey, God, not getting along with the wife. If you could soften her heart, that'd be great. And then God might chill a few things out on you. Hey, you know what? Maybe you could plan a date once a week, because your wife is frustrated that there be no dateness. You ain't going out. You can't just watch TV all day. And then God will talk to her and say things like, your husband's love language is touch. And the wife is going to be like, well, crap. Because you can't really disagree with God. You'd be like, well, I'm going to... And then the two of you together can say, like, when you sit down to pray, the questions are, what matters to us? Pray we have a what? Good marriage, good life. Our kids are good. Our kids are smart. Our kids are protected. Our kids are healthy. Let our relationship be good. Let our relationship be great. Sorry, I like marriage. I like relationships. I want to be a one-woman man. I want one wife, and I want to be married for a bazillion years, even if we get on each other's nerves. I'm pretty good, though, emotionally. It's really hard to get on my nerves. The last girl I dated, when she was cruel, I would just say, please stop being cruel. You're being cruel. And then she'd sometimes get more angry and sometimes get less angry. Sometimes it's like, can you be less high energy? Sure. Can you try to fit in more? No. But I will try not to be obnoxious. Okay, that's fair. God, she yelled at me one time in one of the art buildings at campus, and I yelled at her. It was so funny. She said, quit mansplaining. And I said, what's mansplaining? And she got very confused because I didn't get mad, right? She was like, quit mansplaining. I was, what? What does that even mean? She said, quit talking down to me because I'm a girl. And then I got mad. Oh my gosh. And she was used to getting loud and like shutting down the situation, but I'm half Hispanic. And so I got louder, and she kind of like sunk back. I said, I'm not talking down to you because you're a girl. I'm talking down to you because you're being an asshole and you're pissing me off. I was like, that's it. We're not dating anymore, are we? I crossed a line. I said, hey, look. I'm not trying to bully you. I respect you no matter what. You're smart. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. I will never talk down to you because you're a girl. Okay? I might disagree with you, but like, just because I said something doesn't mean I'm like putting my foot down. When I'm done saying something, you can rebuttal. You can tell me I'm wrong. Like, the conversation isn't over until both of us decide it's over. And she was like, oh. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what the last guy you dated was like, but like, you don't have to worry. I'm not here to like bully you. Anyways, I just want to see good marriage come back. I want to see good families come back. I'm trying to right reality, right the ship, right our culture, right our civilization. But I love you guys. That was a lot of prophetic stuff. I'm afraid to get more prophetic stuff. But we'll see what happens.